Is the United States really thinking of buying Bitcoin to reduce the national debt? Hello everyone and welcome to our channel dedicated to the world of cryptocurrencies. Here you will find market updates, project reviews and advice to help you make informed decisions in the world of cryptocurrencies. I invite you to follow me on the channel to always be updated. Imagine a future where the United States not only holds the largest gold reserve on the planet, but also owns a significant amount of Bitcoin. It may sound like science fiction, but recent rumors and concrete movements indicate that this idea could become a reality. How might such a strategy affect the global economy and the dollar's role as a reserve currency? And what are the reasons why a government should consider a massive investment in a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin? With the global economy in a state of uncertainty, many are considering alternatives to preserve wealth and ensure economic stability. Traditionally, gold has been the safe haven of choice, but in recent years, Bitcoin has begun to emerge as a potential store of value. This phenomenon is driven by its inherent scarcity, with up to 21 million units that can be issued, and its resistance to manipulation thanks to blockchain technology. Some politicians and influential public figures, such as former President Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy, have recently expressed interest in the idea of the United States hoarding Bitcoin. Trump has even suggested that, if re-elected, his administration could accumulate a strategic reserve of Bitcoin, similar to the gold reserve, to ensure economic stability and maintain the supremacy of the dollar. Robert Kennedy, for his part, has proposed a detailed plan to transfer Bitcoin currently held by the government to the U.S. Treasury, with the aim of building a strategic reserve of at least 4 million Bitcoin within 5 years. The proposal to accumulate Bitcoin as a strategic reserve is driven by several considerations. First, Bitcoin is seen as a deflationary asset, the value of which could increase significantly over time due to its limited supply. Unlike fiat currencies, which can be printed at will by central banks, Bitcoin has a fixed quantity which increases its appreciation potential. Furthermore, Bitcoin is considered an immutable and secure asset, with transactions recorded on a decentralized blockchain that makes manipulation or fraud virtually impossible. The ability to store Bitcoin in cold storage mode, i.e. offline, makes it a safe asset similar to gold. Despite these advantages, Bitcoin is also known for its high volatility. However, supporters of the initiative argue that this volatility will decrease over time as global adoption increases and the market stabilizes. In an environment where government reserves already include a variety of assets, from gold to government bonds, Bitcoin could provide an additional layer of diversification and protection against economic instability. The accumulation of a large amount of Bitcoin by the United States would not only be an economic move, but also a geopolitical one. Owning a significant reserve of Bitcoin could strengthen the United States' position as a global economic leader, offering a further hedge against global economic instability and currency fluctuations. This strategy could also consolidate the dollar's role as a reference currency, as owning Bitcoin could be seen as an additional tool to protect the U.S. currency. However, not everyone agrees with this view. Some critics, including Vice President Kamala Harris, have not expressed explicit support for the idea of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The main concern is the long-term volatility and uncertainty associated with a relatively new and still evolving cryptocurrency. Another factor that comes into play is the current state of the global economy. With inflation reaching historic levels, central banks around the world, including the U.S. Federal Reserve, have undertaken monetary tightening policies to try to control rising prices. However, this tightening has sparked fears of an impending recession. Many analysts predict that the global economy may enter a recession in the near future, with the fourth quarter of the current year often being cited as the most likely time for an economic contraction to begin. The Federal Reserve, in particular, is under pressure to decide whether to maintain its current policy of high interest rates or begin reducing them to stimulate the economy. Meanwhile, some large companies like McDonald's have already started to show signs of economic weakness, with declining sales due to a reduction in consumer spending. This phenomenon is not limited to the food sector, but also extends to other sectors such as the automotive sector, where there is excess inventory and declining profit margins. In parallel with the discussion on the strategic reserve, there is a growing interest from financial institutions in Bitcoin ETFs, exchange-traded funds. Recently, Morgan Stanley announced plans to offer Bitcoin ETFs to its wealthiest clients, paving the way for a significant influx of institutional capital into the cryptocurrency market. These ETFs allow investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without having to actually hold the cryptocurrency, making investing more accessible and less risky for large institutions. According to the data, Bitcoin ETFs have seen record inflows of $20 billion in just 6 months, signaling strong institutional interest. This could have a significant impact on the cryptocurrency market, helping to stabilize prices and increase liquidity. In conclusion, the idea that the United States could accumulate a significant amount of Bitcoin as part of a strategic reserve is a real possibility that could have profound effects on the global economy and the role of the dollar. As the debate continues and policies are developed, it is clear that Bitcoin is already playing a central role in the country's economic strategy. Traditional markets are already showing signs of weakness, with more than $2.9 trillion wiped off stocks due to fears of a global recession. This is the worst day since the stock market crash of 2020, and with the 10th consecutive quarter of Federal Reserve tightening, we may be on the verge of a recession. In this context, Bitcoin's role as a store of value may become more relevant than ever. That said, thanks for following us. If you want to stay updated on the latest news from the crypto world and not miss any opportunities, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Until then, keep an eye on the markets, because we are just approaching the high-risk period of a recession.